Okay, good evening. We're up to the Mishnah on Chaf Hey Amid Beis. We're up to the Mishnah on Chaf Hey Amid Beis. Matzah begal, if you have a stone fell down and now you have a heap of stones and you find a Veda underneath that, or Ubekaisel Yashon, or you find it in an old wall, Hariel Shaloi, you can be assured that the owner gave a pope and therefore it belongs to you. Matzah b'kaisel chadash. Now, but if it's a new wall, then it depends. Matzah b'kaisel chadash. If it's a new wall, then it depends. Mechetzia v'lechutz. If from half the wall and outwards, then shaloi. Then it belongs to you, right? However, mechetzia v'lefnim, from half the wall and in, shel balabayas. Says Rashi. Mechetzia v'lechutz. One of the holes that are next to Rishus Harabim, matzah, you find mechetzi oivav shel kaisel, half of the width of the wall, then shaloi. Why do we say that? One of the people in Rishus Harabim placed it there, and he forgot it. The afagav the omran lael suffik hinuach layital, even though we said a suffik hinuach layital, if it's a suffik, whether it was left there or not, don't take it. That was left there. It's speaking the shasich tfei. It's very rusty. In other words, if you have something that was left there, we said yesterday, you don't return it. Don't touch it. So how can a guy left something in a wall and he forgot it? How can you touch it? And the answer is the Gemara is going to say it's not just anything. Not only is it from the half and outward, but you can tell by its appearance that it was there for a very, very long period of time, and therefore you could be assured that the owner was miyayish. Okay, but from inside, that belongs to the balabas. If the house was rented to others, that even if you find something, that will be yours. The Gemara is going to ask, why don't you go and give it to the last person who rented the house out? Why don't you give it to the last person who rented the house out? Anyway, says Gemara, Tana. Why is it something in an old wall that belongs to you? Because we'll say it's from the time of the Amorim. Now, lav dafka the Amorim. This is just because the Tana was in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael you had one of the nations, the 7 nations, the Amorim. But who had in any other land that you're in that we could say was there for a long period of time? The halach would be Hari Elish Shalai. Fred the Gemara had to Amorim Matzniya Yisrael and Matzniya. I mean, only the goyim, the moirim put things in the wall, and there's no mitzvah of a shavas aveda by a goy, right? But Jews don't put things in the wall. So just because it's found in the wall, if it's yashan, found in the wall, and then even let's say just because it's found in the wall, why don't you say it was from a Jew? So let's read the shas of tfei. And Aleph, it says the shas of tfei. Says Rashi, helu chulda rabba. It has much rust on it. The kulei haile shavik lehu, a person doesn't leave it there for such a long period of time. So therefore, yeah,
during the war, they put things in the wall because they'll come back one day for it.
Right.
Some did.
Right. Well, again, so yes, they weren't miyash because that's a davatomon. Don't we said a davatomon, something that's hidden. Here's speaking about a hole in the wall of Rami. It wasn't hidden. It's not Taman. Yeah, just there. But you're saying a good point. If it's Taman, if it's hidden, then don't touch it. No, if it's Taman, don't touch it. Right? Don't touch it. Now, because okay. So Amar Ravashi, Sakina Basakasa, a knife goes after its handle. A knife goes after its handle. So picture a wall, and you have the handle facing towards the outside. It would have the din of outside. Facing towards inside, it would have the inside. So l'chari, you have to ask a kasha, and the Gemara will. You just told me half and half. L'chari has nothing to do with if it's a knife. This has nothing to do with placement in the wall. It has everything to do with the width of the wall. It has everything to do with the direction of the handle. The kisa and a purse. Well, so shanse goes after its straps. So therefore, you have a problem. If you have a criteria of saying whether it goes to the outside in Hariel Shaloi or it goes to the inside of Balabas based upon the placement of the handle or the straps, a Mishnah that learned from Chetzav and Chutz belongs to him. A Chetzil of Flim Shabal Abayis, the Lichsi. Let's look. Ikas Lagav. If the handle is Lagav towards the inside, Ikas Labar. Ishansi Lagav, the straps are to the inside, Ishansi Labar to the outside. In other words, why do you tell me half and half? That's not the criteria. The criteria is you could tell from the object itself rather than its place in the wall. It says the Gemara, and for the Gemara, Maslisam bu'udra v'nascha. Our Mishnah is speaking about udra v'nascha. It's speaking about a wad of some type of substance, some muchin, something that's a stuffing, the nascha or an ingat. In other words, something that doesn't have what, something that doesn't have a handle. Tana. If the wall was full of mitzias, then you'll cholik. The half to the outside, half the inside. It says in Pshita, it's the walls inclined in one direction. Let's say it's inclined towards the inside. So I would say all the stuff was in the outside, and the fact that you found some stuff in the inside is because the incline, it went to that direction. Kamash Malon, that why we don't worry about that. That's a good kasha, guys. If you find something in a wall that's owned by a person, why could you take it? Look at the top Taisus, the Shasach, top Taisus on Chafav and Aleph. You find something in the wall, Ariel Shaloi. From Taima, Velikni le Chatseroi lebal Hagal, or lebal HaKaisel. Let's say the person who owns the heap or owns the Kaisel, what is his? We say a Chatzah can be Kaina, Shalai Midaitai. So why didn't we say the Chatzah is Kaina? So Taisus says Yisayid. Yesh Leimar. The ein chatzah koine b'dav shiyach aliyos shleim tze'en l'olam. A chatzah can't acquire something that you'll never find. K'maracha shu mutzna ba'oivi ha'koisel. It's hidden in the oives of the koisel. So therefore, something that's hidden. Therefore, your koisel, your chatzah cannot be koine something that. When does chatzah koine? Something you could expect to be there, but something that no one would know is there. The chatzah cannot be koine. So getting back to Avrami's question, so if something is, I don't think this wall. So you want to say, I guess it's extenuating circumstances that this was there for an incredibly long period of time, right? So if you know the person put it there. So in other words, if a guy takes, let's say a guy takes it, so a guy's going to take it anyway. Another yid would take it. Another yid would find it. Like you're saying that 1 second. So the guy was miyayish. But if I don't know if it's miyayish if he hides it. You know, the way he hid it, he's not miyayish. He's not miyayish, right? He's taman. Over here we're talking about, I guess, something that it's very, very. It's not shaykh that, you know. Let's say you'd find something 100 years after that, you know, after the war or something like that.
You have to go search the house, and then you know, claim in the house, and then 2 years later, he finds.
Yeah, when I bought my house, I knocked down a wall. I found a beer bottle from 1896.
The guy was miyayish, you know. I found a lot of that.
It wasn't guy wasn't miyayish. It was these guys didn't want to get rid of the junk. They put it behind the wall. You found that, right?
Bottle. Oil bottles.
Behind, yeah. Yeah.
I thought it's because it's not old and rusty. It's before the given fingerprints itself.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, again, it could be. It could be. You know, I think that could be. But they said that's not it's not true like that, because it says that Amoraim and what about Jews? So you're saying that the Russ shows it wasn't Jews, right? You're right. Okay. So again, they predated it, so it have to be like very, very, very old, very old. But again, something that's tamun, you know. It's certainly in the war, people did come back after the war. You have stories like that all the time. Okay, if it was right, if a house was going ahead, right, and it was rented to other people, I feel shaloi. Now look at Taisvis. The third Taisvis down. You found it in a way aveda, that clearly it was an aveda. In other words, you go and find something in the house. You find a coffee table in the house. That's not lost, right? It's got to be something that you can tell that's an aveda. It's something that's lost, right? Not something. Now, now, if you have a house and it was rented, and you rent it from somebody, and now you find something in the house aveda, chances are, who did it come from? It came from what? The last person who rented the house. And the Gemara is going to go to great lengths to quote a Gemara that we saw in Mishnah in Pesachim and in Shkalim, right? About going after Basel Basra. Okay, guys, outside. Let's do it outside. It'll make it a little easier. There are a lot of when you find money in Yerushalayim, there's two possibilities. It's chulin or it's Ma'aser Sheni. People go ahead, what? They would go ahead and they would be paid their crops, the Ma'aser Sheni, in the first year, second year, fourth year, fifth year of Shemitah cycle. They go up and that money has Kedushas Ma'aser Sheni. As we saw, it can only be spent on certain things, right? It can't be spent on water, or it can't be spent on salt, it can't be spent on mushrooms. You have to buy certain things with it. So where it depends where you found it. So let's say you find it in the Har HaBayis, no matter when. If you find it in the Har HaBayis, no matter when, it's going to be chulin. It's going to be chulin. On the Har HaBayis, it's going to be chulin. If you find it in Yerushalayim during the regel, it's Ma'aser Sheni. During the and if you find it in front of the Meicher Behemis, it's going to be Maisa. That by the regel. During the year, it's chulin by the regel. Now, what's the difference in down in the Har HaBayis? The Har HaBayis A was slanted, so therefore it would not accrue, it would fall down. Or B, people were not allowed to bring stuff onto the Har HaBayis, right? It wouldn't be, so they cleaned out Yerushalayim every day. They cleaned it every single day. They cleaned out Yerushalayim. So therefore, anything was found, and we'll say it fell now. Har HaBayis was not cleaned out because A was a bias. Now, not that the money fell. The dust would not settle there, or that people were not allowed with their shoes on the Har HaBayis, so they wouldn't bring dust up there. So that's the Gemara. So we see from this Mishnah that you go after the Basra, that will say whatever fell during the regel in Yerushalayim, that's going to bring a raya that what you go Basra. Me like Tanan, Fred the Gemara, Vamai. Why do we say Ariel Shaloi? Why don't you say Leisel Basra? You go after the last person who was there. Me like Tanan, the following. Money that was found in front of cattle merchants. It's always Maisa, no matter when. No matter when. Some person's buying cattle in Yerushalayim, he's buying for what? For soying or cattle, whatever it is, for karbanis. So it's Maisa Sheni. Bahar HaBayis chulin. Yerushalayim, it depends. B'shayim osashana chulin. B'shasa regel hakol Maisa. B'shasa regel, any money you find in Yerushalayim will have the kedushas Maisa Sheni. My time, what's the reason? Since the Yerushalayim is cleaned out every single day. So what are we going to say? That any money that had been there was taken away, and now we're going to go after the regel, and which is Maisa. And again, Har HaBayis, they didn't sweep out. Alma, what do we say? Aminan kamoy ozli. Anything that was there previously is now gone. And this is what? And this is different. So Hakanami, why don't we say in the rental of the house, kama azol, anything that was there was cleaned out. The hani dabasuhu, and that was left behind was the last person, the last renter. So why do you say Ariel Shaloi? Why don't we give it to what? To the last renter. It's good kasha. Again, you're buttressing a kasha with a Mishnah that says you go after the Basra. So why don't we go after the last person in the house and say it belongs to him rather than Ariel Shaloi? Amr Reish Lakish says Reish Lakish, Yishum ba kapara, kigoin she'asa pundik l'shleisha. It's speaking where this house was for Shloisha Bnei Adam, 3 people, and we say they're Jews, 3 people, 3 Jews. Shmamina halacha Rav Shimon ben Elazar afil Rav Yisrael. We had a kasha the other day. When you go after Roiv, do we go after Rav Yisrael or only Rav Kananim? So let's be pushing from here. That the halacha is like Rav Shimon ben Elazar afil Rav Yisrael. So in other words, you have 3 Jews over here. You have three Jews over here, and we're going to say you don't know who it came from. So the other one person, they're going to be miyayish. They're going to be miyayish. So what do you see? That Rav Shimon ben Elazar said is didn't feel Rav Yisrael, but it answers the kasha. You can't go after Basa because the last person was living there was 3 people. Not 2 people, 3 people. If it's 2 people, one person is going to say he's not going to be miyayish because he's going to say the other guy took it. If it's 3 people, then he'll be miyayish because each one will give him the foot. Say, oh no, he didn't take it. He took it. Okay, so now, so that's the reason why you would go after Basra guys if it was a single person, but since it's not a single person, it's 3 people. You can't go after Basra. three goyim. Rashi points out it's even one guy. There's no mitzvah of a shavas aveda by a guy. The reason we learn three is because we learn three Jews, and three Jews is dafka three Jews, and therefore we learn three goyim, but lav dafka. There's no mitzvah. So if the last renter was a guy, and you find that Hariyel Shalai, there's no mitzvah to return it. Because if it's other Jew, you're going to be chosh to the other guy. The guy's not going to be miyayish because he's going to say the other guy took it. So you have two. Each one is going to offset to the other guy. He's going to offset the other guy. He's going to say, okay. If you look at Rashi, the second word line, the Shloshi Yisrael b'vasachas. He rented it to three Jews at the same time. The kol shkenim hayoyv t'kichavim. When Misha Nafal Mimenu Miyayish, why? He doesn't know who to go ahead and make a claim from. He doesn't know. Okay. Rav Nachman Amar. Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman Amar Rabbi Avua, Afilu Temer Shleishi Yisrael. That's the reason we got off that, because we wanted to be poished that Rav Shimon Elazar says is then Afilu by Rav Yisrael. Correctly, we want to get off that. My timer, Hahu de Nafal Mine, the one that it fell from, Miyayish. Meima Ami says the following: Michti, Inish Achrina Lehavi Bahade. There wasn't any other person in this house except those two other guys. Elahani, Amri Kamayo Kamizmani. I said in front of them many times, Lahadruli, return it to me. Lahadruli, they didn't return it to me. Bahashtra Lahadru, right? Bahashtra Lahadru, you think you're going to return it now? Idaitu Lahadure, if they went, the das was to return it, Hadru and Nale, they would have returned it already. The reason they returned it was the das was to steal it from me. So in other words, the svara of three people would even be guys miyayish, because again, each guy is going to push him off to the other guy. That's what basically. Okay, so what do we have, guys? Let's go. What do we have, guys? We said that house is rented. Hariyel Shalai. Fred the Gemara go after the last one. Biggest raya that Yerushalayim is cleaned out every day. So during the regel, the money is considered Ma'aser Sheni. So you see, the Basra here was either Yidden or Goyim. If it was Goyim, it's speaking about one guy, three Goyim, one, it doesn't make a difference. Shabbos Aveda, there's no difference Shabbos Aveda by a guy. Kol Aveda is achicha, your brother, or if it's even three Jews, after three Jews. Why? Because each one's going to go ahead and claim the other one, and he's never going to get it back. Now, for us, the Rav Nachman Tameh, Rav Nachman gave this reasoning that we have three people involved, you're going to be miyayish. Rav Nachman says the following: Raw seller, raw seller. If you see a seller, a coin, shenafal mishnayim, and you know the one it fell from. In other words, it fell from two people, A and B, and you know it fell from A, right? Chayav lahachsi, you have to give it back. My timer, hahu denafal mine, the A that it fell from, loy miyayish. Meima Amar, he says to himself, Michti, inish achrinu lahavi ba'adoi. There was no other person here besides B. Elahai, only B. Naktina lei, I'll take him to court. Vamina lei, antu the shaklasa, you took it. Okay, that's by two people. So therefore, the one who, again, you're C. You see it fall from A. You have to give to A because you can be assured that he's not miyayish. However, if there are three people, and this is Rav Nachman Tamei, if there are three people involved, then everything changes. Right? Why? So, so if you see it fall from A, you don't have to return it. My timer, who did not mean A Vada miyayish gives the Pope. Meima Amma, he says Michti. Trey Havi Bahadoi. There were two other people besides me. Inakitna Lahai, if I could take them to court, Amma Loishaklasi, he'll say I didn't take it. Inakitna Lahai, I take the other one to court, Amma Loishaklasi. So therefore he's miyayish. Therefore, guys, he's miyayish. So now you have to say that he saw it, he picked it up when you know that he checked by money, guys. We say Rabbi Yitzchak Sten, Adam Mishamish Bekisai Bechol Shah. A person will check his wallet all the time, or else you have the problem of Yish Shaloi Midas. That maybe it's Miyayish Vat after you came to your hand. So you have to say it's speaking where he had time to go ahead and check. It's speaking about a seller where he had time to check. Now it's similar halach. Amarava. That we said by three people, you're not chayiv to return it. Lo yamaron ella the less space shava pruta l'chol chad v'chad. You don't have the object under discussion is not worth three prutos. The object under discussion is not worth three prutos. Aval ispe shava pruta l'chol chad v'chad. If there's a shava pruta to each individual, right? Chayiv lahachser. Then you be chayiv to go ahead and return it. My timer, because he's not the perfect guys. If you know who it fell from, right? You have to return it, even though it's three people. Why? Because it's worth a shava pruta. Because he's not going to be miyayish. That's the key. Why won't it be miyayish when they each have a shava pruta? Ema, I would say, shutfei nenu. They're shutfin. They're partners. Well, miyayishu, and they're what? And they're not miyayish, right? They're shutfin and they're not miyayish. Says Rashi why? Amos shutfei nenu, says Rashi, guys. Beselazu, in this seller. You actually love dafka seller, guys. A seller is much more than three prutas, guys, right? Amos shutfei nenu beselazu, but then monim ze al ze, and they trust each other. Ve'ena echad choshir al chaveru b'chelkoi. And a person is not choshir on his fellow shutif that he would take his chelik. Rashi spells it out. And when he checks his wallet, and he doesn't find his coin, he doesn't give up hope. Meima Omar, he says to himself, one of the shutfin found it, and I'm asking for it, and they're not returning it. And he's just joshing with me, you know. He just wants to be mitzayir me, but that he's not returning it. But eventually, he's going to give it to me. Nimsa, since he checked and he didn't find it, and he wasn't yayish, so the guy picked it up. It came to his hands before yish. For kimno kabaya, and we pass him like abaya that yish lemidas layav yish. Hilkach afagav the seller dovashem by simin who, even though seller is nothing doesn't have a simin chayv lahachser. We had spoken this out, guys. Light abaya liyish lemidas. What's the din? What's the din? Yish lemidas. What's the din? That chayv lahachser even dovashem by simin. Right. Even dovashem by simin. Right. So therefore, aval ki ein by shalish prutais. When you don't have three prutais, man of shach, ishut bin hein ba ein kaim mishum hashavas aveda. There's no din of hashavas aveda, guys. Less than a shavar pruta, there's no din of hashavas aveda. Vim shel echamehem hu, I shall shnayim, or if they're not shutfin, it's only one or two. No, I should. Then he's going to give up hope because he's not a shutif. The amru chavarenu zeh ganef. This guy's a ganafu. By mishamet, and he's slipping away. V'amaloy lekachtiv echad mikis lachu v'gon v'mechebere. And what he's going to go ahead and steal from his friend. Okay, so says Rava Chiddush, guys, outside. Says Rava Chiddush. When do we say that from three people that you would be able to keep it? That's if what is less than a shava pruta. But if each one in the chayfetz there's a shava pruta of three people, let's say there's shutfin, and the reason why he's saying now that he's he trusts this guy, and the reason he's not returning it is because he wants him to sire him, so he's not miyayish. And when the guy picked it up, since the other guy's not miyayish, it's yish shalei midas, and therefore you be chayav to return it. Mashen came, we have less than three prutos, so even if there's shutfin, it's less than a shava pruta, so there's no din of a shavas aveda. Ikadi army, others say Amarava, Afagav the less be ela shava shtei prutos chayav lahachzir. Not only three, but even two. Afagav the less be ela shava shtei prutos. Even two prutais, chayav lahachzir, you be chayav to return it. My time, what's the reason? Amos shutfei ninu, b'chad minayo chuli achlei l'monsei. So there's shutfin, and now there's shutfin, and it's worth three, and it's two prutais. So what are you going to say? There's no din of shavas aveda on less than a shava pruta. If one of the shutfin's Michael, now then you have the shear of a shavas aveda, and therefore you'd have to go ahead chayav lahachzir. Achuli achli lemanse gabi chabe. V'amar Rava anudin ra sela shenafla. Now I spoke out, fellas, as the hakdama to this parak, three possibilities in aveda: din of gezela, din of mitzvah sasei shavas aveda, mitzvah loy sasei leisucha lisalem. You have to pick it up. Leisucha lisalem. You're not able to close your eyes and make believe you never saw it. Those are the three dinim. So now we're going to go ahead and speak out on in different situations. If you're over on three or one, okay, we'll speak different situations. If you're over three, over on one. Okay, says the Gemara. Vamarava, Ra Sela Shenafla. You saw a seller that fell, and not la lifnei yish. You picked it up before yish al minas legoizla. Now you picked it up for what, guys? For the purpose of stealing. So oive bekulan, all three. Mishum like sigzo. Umisham hashef teshivim, you're mevatel the mitzvah of returning it. Umisham lo suchul alein. You're not able to go ahead and close your eyes, and here you are, you're closing your eyes, you're stealing it. So you're over on all three. Even though you return it after Yush, matanahu de yavle, be surah de avid of it. You're giving it back your kaina, you're giving a matana, and the isser that you're over, and the isser that you're over is still intact. So pashtus you'd learn, you're over on three surim. You're over on Hashem Teshive, you're over on Leisuchel Isalein, and you're over on Gazela. In fact, Taish is a great kasha. If you steal something, what's the halacha, guys? You have to return it. Yeah. So if you return it, you're doing the mitzvah. So Taish is a kasha. I stole it, but I'm returning it. So Mamela, right? So what are you over here? So let's see that Taish. Nice Taish, guys. Matana ba'alma hu diyavle. The third Taish is up from the bottom. Them taimar. V'alav the leisigzal mikri nitek lasei. The lav leisigzal is menatek lasei. You can go ahead and correct it. The perik shluach hakein. In Cain, keeping the linen gazela mikri matana gam hashav teshive lama leitikein. The good linen the gazela, it's not called the matana. So regarding hashav teshive, you should also be yaitz the mitzvah. The yeshleimar the leikoi el alav leisuchel esalein sha'avar shalei hechzakayim yish. Says Taisvis, when it says you're over, but you did, you know what it means? It's only going on one, not all three. Einachinami. By returning it, you would taking care of the gazela, and you'd be taking care of the Hashev Teshivim. You would still be over on Lisuchel Isalim. Geshmak Taisvis to know. Like Geshmak Taisvis, illustrates the Gemara very nicely. Now, not Lulufnei Yish, Almanas Lachzira. Let's say you picked it up, but for the purpose of returning it, guys. So now, what were you over on? Right? You're over on Hashev Teshivim. In other words, when you picked it up to return it, so you would, it wasn't Gazela, right? You picked it up. So now that you decide to not give it back, so you're over on Hashav Saveda. Good. Hashev Teshivim. Now this guy's a clever guy. He waits, he sees him drop it, and he's waiting for him to be miyayish. So he waits for him miyayish. Himtim lo yachis nashu abaylim, vin not lo, and then he takes it. Then what? He's miyayish. So there's no gazela, there's no mitzvah what, there's no din of what of Shav Saveda. But by waiting, he was over what? Like suchel esalein. So the Gemara just illustrated what the different scenarios for that. So again, he waits for the person to go ahead and be miyayish. Right then and there, since he didn't pick it up, he waited. He's over on Lisuchel Salim. You're not allowed to close your eyes. He closed his eyes for that period of time. Once the person's miyayish, there's no gazela anymore, and there's no din of Hashavas Aveda because the person was miyayish. So therefore, it only be over on Lisuchel Salim. Amarava, Hayman the Chazi the Nafal Zuse Mechavre Bechilsa. He sees money falls in the sand. He sees money goes ahead and falls in the sand. The ashkei, the shakle, right? And he goes and he finds it. He doesn't have to return it. My timer, who the nafel mine miyayishu, and the one that fell from his miyayish. Afagav the chazi the ase arbalo v'kamarbo. He sees the guy go with a sifter, and he goes back to sift the sand. So how can you tell him he's miyayish? So Meimami says to himself, "Keheke the nafel minoi didi hacha nami nachal me inishachrina." In other words, he's miyayish on his own, but he says, "1 second, this could be a good business, just like it fell for me." And this is going back really a long time ago. Says the Mishnah, "Matzah bechanus." If you find an aveda in chanus, hariel shaloi, says Rashi, b'davashem by simin koi. It's going on something that doesn't have a simin. That who did not mean miyayish. Since there are a lot of people go into the store and it doesn't have a simin, and then the person is miyayish. Now, it seems to be the following: the storekeeper would have the counter, and he would not be sitting behind the counter; he'd be sitting in front of the counter. So you have the people, the chenvani, and the counter. So where do you find the object? That's going to be under discussion. Says the Mishnah. Bein that table chenvani. If you find the object between the table and the chenvani, the teva means the box. Shel chenvani. That's the chenvani because for sure it fell from him. Lefnei shel. Okay. So if in the chanos, guys, if in the store you find it in front of the chenvani, then it belongs to you. If you find it between the chenvani and his box, it belongs to the chenvani. Shulchani on money changes. Lefnei shulchani hari ela shaloi. If front of the shulchani, anything you find belongs to you. Bein hakisei shulchani. However, between the seat and the shulchani, that's similar to the teva of the chenvani. So between the kisei and the shulchani, hari ela shulchani. That belongs to him. So that's the second in. Matzah b'chanos and the second in b'shulchani. Guess the Gemara is going to make a diak. What about you find it on the shulchan itself? Seems the chenvani did not keep the money on the table. He kept it in a wallet or something. He had a purse. So if you find it on the table, it's mashma only if you find it between the chair and the chenvani and the shulchani. What about the table itself? The Gemara will discuss that. Halakeach peiros mechaveroi. A person purchases peiros from his friend. Or sheshilach lechaveroi peiros, or his friend sends him peiros, right? Like a good shalach manas, right? Sends him peiros. Umatz ben mois. You find money in it. Hariel Shaloi. You know, why didn't you say it's from the friend you sent it to? The Gemara will discuss that. It's because you have a simon, either the kesha or the minion will be a simon. Okay. So what's the first din? The din of a chanus. What's the second din? The din of the shulchani. Let's just reiterate. In front of the shulchani, it's yours. Between the kisei and the shulchani, it belongs to the shulchani. What about the table itself? Says the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Elazar. Afilu munacham al gabi shulchan. Tanan, right? Afilu menachem b'gei b'shulchan belongs to you. Says Rabbi Elazar, even if it's on the table, it belongs to you. Tanan l'fnei shulchani hariel shaloi, right? If in front of the shulchani, then it belongs to you. Al gabe shulchan the shulchani, right? Mashma, it belongs to him. Correct? Dafka in front of the shulchani, but on his table, it's mashma, it belongs to you. That's the diak. Now you have a conflicting diak. Ema seifa bein hakisei o shulchani. If you find between the chair and the shulchani, then shulchani. Mashma gabe shulchan shaloi. On the table belongs to you. So we have conflicting inferences, guys. Anytime you have conflicting inferences in the Mishnah, the Gemara will always end up ela lekel mashmarina. Ela mehol lekel mashmarina. This is take it to the bank. They always say this when you have conflicting inferences. Ela lekel mashmarina. You can't make any assertion as to the halacha of what the din is you find on the shulchan itself. Rabbi Elazar hamanile, right? Why did Rabbi Elazar how do you know that? Guys, you have conflicting inferences, correct? Yet Rabbi Elazar said on the table it belongs to you. Amarava mastisa kashisa. The Mishnah was shver to Rabbi Elazar. You had a case of chenvani, and then you had a case of shulchani, and you changed. My area to tani bein akisei l'shulchani shulchani listening ala shulchan. Why do you learn bein kisei l'shulchani? Tell me a bigger chiddush. Even when it's closer to the shulchani, not on the floor, when it's on the table itself. Tell me, and you didn't. Inami matzah b'shulchanos k'diktani reisha matzah b'chanus shaloi. Ella, when you didn't use either lashon, you didn't tell me on the you didn't tell me on the table itself, or you didn't tell me shulchanos. Or rather, kisei elishmamina afilu minacham al gabi shulchan. You couldn't say shulchanos. You know why? Because if it's found on the shulchan, it would be yours. Elishmamina afilu minacham al gabi shulchan hari el shaloi. So the shulchani, not only in front of the shulchani would belong to you, but even on the table of the shulchani will say it fell from somebody and he was miyayish and it belongs to what? And it belongs to you. Again, guys, go to a coin changer and you drop $100 bill over there. You go to money change in Yerushalayim. You go drop $100 bill over there. A guy comes in 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later. You had 5 customers in between. It's right there. You don't know who left it there. Again, you think to yourself. Think about it. You don't know who left a $100 bill there, right? You don't know.
Put it on the side. The back is $100.
No, it's not a simon.
Don't have $100 bills.
Everyone has $100. Mandy, you're dating yourself. Everyone has $100 bills. $100 bill used to be something. $100 bill today, Bismana says, is nothing. You could never. I'll be with you in a second. You could never go ahead growing up, you could never go in and get a change of $100 bill. No one changed it. No one changed. Even $50 was high. Now they give you a $50 bill in change. Man, I'm serious. They give you a $50 bill in change. Everyone here is smiling because they know it's true. It's nothing. It's nothing. We said there's no matbeya. There's no simon on a matbeya. There's no sim. There's no.
Take the $50 bill from you because they were afraid it was counterfeit people.
But I'm saying, but there's no simon anymore. It's not rear anymore. There's no simon anymore. The matbeya, just like it fell from him, it fell from you. Yeah.
But if someone can walk in a half hour later and says, I lost $100 bill on the floor.
What? Yeah. How many people walked into that store?
But how many people, they found it, someone found it.
Right. So it doesn't have a simon from me.
But how many people
From me, we're learning.
they lost it?
What?
No one else is coming in to say they lost it.
So good. Oh, you're saying that they're the only one making a claim. You found it on the floor, but this is not on the floor. This is in front of Shulchani. This is the funny story. And here's the question. The question is the following. Here's the question. The guy would come back and no one touched this and say, it's mine. Great. What's the halacha about you picking up that $100 bill? Can you pick it up or not? That's under discussion. You're saying what would happen if the guy would come back and get it. The halacha, I'm asking you, if I'm there before, can I pick it up for myself? Can I keep it? Can I keep it? Why? Why? That's what we're telling you. We're telling you exactly. But again, if you find it, let's say on the floor behind the money changer, clearly it fell from him. Again, that's the halacha. I just used that as an illustration of the halacha. Again, if a guy does walk in, you go to Flame Mishur Sadin. We said you should go to Flame Mishur Sadin, not the Rabbi. You should go up and above board. The question is it yours or not? We said Shmuel, his father returned donkeys that were missing for 12 months. A year later, returned them. And he said, how are you talking? And we said, he went to Flame Mishur Sadin. Certainly over here, now look, the question is, how luckily are you able to keep that money? And the answer is yes. Okay, very good shmak. Okay, what was the last thing of the Mishnah? If you go ahead and you buy fruit from somebody and you find money in the fruit, whether you can go ahead and you can keep it. Right? And it's the question is, why isn't it a good simon? Why isn't it a good simon? If it's srurin, then noitel makris. But if it's not srurin, then not. Says the Gemara, Amrei Shlakish Mishum of Yanai, leishanu that you can keep it, Ella beloikeach minat tagar. You bought it from a middleman. This guy he's the Bronx market. He goes ahead, so he's from ever you bought it from, many people could have gone ahead and so there's no way of knowing who it belonged to. If you buy from a guy, you go to Jersey, drive down Squonkam, you go down all those farms, and they're selling it out from the baskets right there, fresh from the field. Then you be chayav to give it to him. So if you find money in the basket, you be chayav to give it to him. If you find it right, if you go to Costco and you find it from Costco, you know how many hands to touch before you got to Costco, you don't have to return it. On the other hand, if you buy it from the farmer himself, then you have to return it. The Tana Kamed of Nachman, Loishanu, that you can keep it, tagar. You bought it from the middleman, the merchant. Only of Nachman, he has workers. Maybe it fell from the workers. Guys, how do you know it fell from the balabayas? So Amalei, Rav Nachman said to Rav Nachman, so the person that reciters of Bryce said to Rav Nachman, Asme, should I go ahead and erase it? Because when it says Tani Tana Kamei, it's not a Tana. It means people who memorize Bryces, memorize things, and they would say it over because it wasn't written down yet until Rav Ashi and Ravina. It wasn't written down yet. So you want to know, maybe it's a corrupt Brysa, and therefore we should go get rid of it, get it out of text because it doesn't make any sense. It's speaking about who his work is. Work is that if it fell from them, it belongs to them anyway. So therefore, there's no shaila that it belongs to him.